It's been a while since I've used this, so it just takes, I have a sort of a slight learning curve. It takes about a few minutes to reacclimate.
Well, I think I just need to get you on more. Like we need to do this more, and that way, you develop that skill. You just
Yeah,
maintain it.
I know. Yeah.
I think we coordinated too. I mean, you got a Cardinal wrestling hat. I got the
Isn't
shirt.
that? Yeah, North Idaho College.
Oh, okay. So it's not Stanford Cardinal.
No, it's North Idaho.
So is it? It's the bird. It's not the color.
Yeah, it's the bird. It's their mascot. Yeah, their mascot.
I think it's interesting. Stanford is the cardinal. It's like the color cardinal, not the bird.
Yeah, no, it's they what is their mascot? Stanford.
I mean, it's a tree. Like they have like a tree.
Yeah, a tree. Yeah, that's right. But it was something back in the day, and I can't remember before the tree. Maybe they changed it.
I think Syracuse, I think, is orange,
Orange? Yeah.
and it's a
No.
color too, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, Syracuse. They're orange and blue or something like that. So I remember back when they had a great program with Gene Mills
Yeah.
and who was their last NCAA champion? He was a lightweight, Syracuse. Oh, I can't remember. It's been such a long time. So how's it been going?
Yeah, it's been great. I think no, with just Thanksgiving being done, and I think it's always a really good time for reflection. So no, I always appreciate this time of year. Especially now that I don't have to make weight like anymore. So
Yeah, I remember when I wrestled at Chabot College back in the later 1980s, the seasons here in the fall. It's going on right now. And this time of the year, I remember our Coach Soroy would have a practice that morning at Thanksgiving, about a 2.5, 3 hour practice, check the weight. And then we had a practice the next day in a clinic. So we were told you will be within 2 pounds of this weight tomorrow if you're not. So I remember I ate a lot. So later that night, I had to go do a couple-mile run, burn it off, run in the morning because you didn't want the wrath to come after you if you were overweight. It was a form of psychological warfare, you know.
yeah.
So most people made it. So, but yeah, it was never that time of year was not fun. It was sort of you had to be structured and every time I eat turkey or potatoes, I still remember, even though it's been 30, 37 years, that moment. Had to
I
think,
think that's something like you think about most teams, how they navigate the holiday breaks usually is a big thing. What happens with their performance is,
mhm,
can you keep your weight dialed in? Are you able to get the right recovery in now that you're not worried about school?
yeah.
When we had Chris Ayers on, they had a great performance at the Cliff Keen that year, and
Mhm.
he told us, yeah, he's like gave the whole week of Thanksgiving off,
Oh, wow.
just go home. Like go home, watch your weight, work out on your own. And the guys came back and were pretty fresh and had a great Cliff Keen. So
No, I never, I mean, the JCs used to be a spring sport. They would start later around now than finish in just like the NCAs in March in 82 when they changed it. Um, it's just a hard time to have to go through almost two holidays in a sporting cycle is very difficult, especially with weight cut and travel and stuff like that. But nonetheless, it is what it is. Wrestling's year round, pretty
yeah,
much, if you're focused.
I wonder if like how it would benefit us if the sport got moved to the second semester. I think it would be interesting if you wanted to plan like the U.S. Open and stuff. I mean, maybe you push it back like a month, but like,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
sure can't hurt. I mean, you have to look at the logistics of what's affected at that time.
Yeah,
Aren't we dealing with basketball? Didn't they change it by a little bit? So we're not dealing with the Final Four and all that for the
I
NCAs.
I think the playoffs are still going on.
Yeah.
Um,
But the thing about college wrestling now, we're not dependent on ABC or CBS or any of those major three, four outlets. Now we got streaming, we got, ESPN one, two, three, or four. We have all these different things. So there's more opportunity. The access is more prevalent now than just depending on a couple back when it was on Wide World of Sports.
Well,
Um,
even that, like somebody can literally just whip out their camera and just upload something onto YouTube too.
yeah, the connectivity. I mean, the connectivity. See, I can recall back in the day where you and I, if we are just going into the wrestling room, we couldn't have the conversations we have today because unless you had access to like an amateur wrestling news, Wrestling USA, one of the magazines, or just happened to watch that NCAA championship that had partial matches between the commercials. And, I remember that going into the third period, Barry Davis is up by two over Dart. It's like, okay, we're just in the last 30 seconds of the match. To today, we're just a click away from every little thing that's happening, whether it's a rumor, whether it's reality, or like a real American freestyle. I missed it last night, but it's on stream, and I'm gonna go watch it later today.
Do you know the results at all?
No, I don't. I
Oh,
had some stuff I had to take. I'll I'll wait, but we have access to it, and we can say, "Hey, did you hear about so and so? Did you see this?" And it's real time, and it's a great time. We can connect pretty much. If I want to go watch videos of Buzavar Saitiev or one of the Japanese wrestlers, it's prevalent. I mean, we have access to the whole world. I think that's really transformed wrestling. The
yeah.
knowledge,
I mean,
the
that it's
knowledge.
it's been great too. Like I'm a Bears fan. It's hard being a Bears fan on the West Coast, but
Hmm.
I get that Sunday ticket, and I get to I pay too much money for that, but I get to watch all the games, and I get to record them too. Like we had our youth league dual championship that happened, and I missed the Bears game, but I was able to record it. So like I
Hmm.
got to go home right after, and I was so excited because I didn't know the score and it already
Hmm.
happened, but I got to start the game. That didn't work. I think it was something else was going on like Sunday morning. I had to push it
Hmm.
back. But the thing is, my phone sends me automatic updates, so I like had to not, like keep my phone away because otherwise it was going to spoil the game. But it's good,
Yeah.
man. I love
Yeah.
it.
No, I mean, I can go watch a Cal State Bakersfield match that comes up on YouTube. Once I have my algorithm set, it just keeps hitting over and over. And I have to say, brother, you do really good in your announcing. You're doing a good job. Got a good
It's
voice for it, and you understand it's really difficult to announce and stay on top of what's happening and make it clear and concise for the non-wrestler to make sense of what's going on. You do a good job at that.
I appreciate. I actually thought the last time I did it was like the worst time I did. I thought it was so bad.
It
Uh,
happens.
Working
It
out like well,
happens.
doing like the script and stuff. Like I think I messed up a couple times, but um, they give you like a script beforehand, and that's like the intro. And then
Hmm.
there's certain things you have to do, like if we're gonna run back this clip, like
Hmm.
have something to say. But I don't know. I think it's different when you actually know and care about the team a lot. I think if I was doing something else like Stanford or like Cal Poly or like a BC match, Bakersfield College. Like I'm not sure I would be as into it. You know what I mean? But because it's
No.
Cal State Bakersfield, I get fired up.
Yeah, you want to do like I sent you all my notes. I was brainstorming everything that we may talk about, and I was analyzing. I like to take a bunch of data, analyze it, summarize it, and come up with a sort of a theme there. Because California, you can say, well, who's this kid? Boom, 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 boom. I'm still tracking it,
Yeah,
but I'm still tracking what's going on here in Idaho. It's like then I'm paying attention to everything else. So it's like
you're a
it really
numbers
put
guy, man. Like you got to have the numbers.
you got to have the numbers and the thing is we can talk about it in this podcast. I've always known California's had some exceptional talent in through the years. And Michael Cho's rankings, in my opinion, are the most comprehensive. But in the country, when you look at his rankings, there's so much data there, it gets foggy because there's so much information. But when you take that information and consolidate it, I was looking at the preseason state rankings, and you're looking at how many states have this of this. I think the some weights have six guys or seven guys that are returning All Americans in the top eight.
Yeah,
Average is five, and what that means All American, they're placing at Super 32, Fargo, Folk Style Nationals, or the U. And we got like three world medalists. The kid from Poway.
yeah.
We got David Calkins from Liberty. He's third in bronze. We got I mean, I'm looking at this, and then you look at when you take all the data, I mean, shoot, they have 37 kids already committed to compete in college, and six of them are going to the Big Ten, and 11 going to Big 12. And you're just looking at the data and put it there. You want to place in the top 8 in California. It's not the message is clear. It's not part time. It used to be you can be a real good athlete and get away with maybe doing it. Now, just to get into round the 12, you're going to have to go through a gauntlet.
Yeah, I think if you're a California State placer, I mean, you're probably D1 ready,
Hmm.
depending on maybe the weight. But I think what's interesting for me when I look at those, how we do on the national level, I feel like our best guys perform very well. I think it's more of like,
Hmm.
and our ladies too perform very well. I think it's more like that second tier, like the guys that are like mid to low placers at the state tournament, guys that are around the 12. How do they do nationally? Typically, they don't do that great, and from what I've seen. I mean, I think like somebody that gets like a third at PA State is probably gonna be top two or three at California at most weights. But
Yeah.
I think yeah, I'm always thinking like how why is that? And I think if you look at some of the national rankings, I think how often are we competing in some of these bigger tournaments? And I think it just, you look in the last couple of years, I think it's happening more. You have more guys from California going out and competing at Super 32. At Fargo, I think participation's always been really good. But just, I think as you see things just kind of increase with like RTCs and, kind of just the national level tournaments, I think it's something that more California guys realize that all right, we kind of have to go and do this stuff. Yeah, we've been the biggest state, and it's been competitive and stuff, just at the state level. But again, if you want to get more national looks and get more national exposure and get more scholarship opportunities, you got to travel a little bit.
Yeah, because I just looked at the Billy Buckeye. He's new. He's been doing national rankings. I mean, we're used to Flow and a few. It's always good to have more than one ranking outlet um, to give a perspective. He has, I think he ranks all the way up to the top 30. And as you understand, there's clusters, right? There's clusters like guys rank 15 to 25. They're the same kid. They're so close they can beat each other. And it's not really, it's that top 10 cluster. Then you have an outliers like that Bo Bassett or someone that good. Um, but 57 kids in California have been recognized in this preseason ranking. 22 are in the top 10. And then I look at Buchanan, they got 8 kids. St. John Bosco's got 9. And then you just look at the track league, which is Clovis North, and Buchanan. 16 kids in that town, well, I don't know what the population, are ranked in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. But you look at some of these kids' resumes, and I'm looking at some of these kids, like you said, the top tier, the cream of the crop, and it's no different than Idaho. Population, we just hit 2 million. Our cream of the crop, I mean, we won Fargo and Graco. Our 16U, I think, was top two last year. Freestyle, we're doing okay, but the coaching, the quality coaching is there. Our top tier kids can compete with anyone, but then when you go to the next level, and it drops off a little bit, and that brings up another point is, as you know, the California Junior College is going on right now. I think next week's the regionals,
Yeah.
and then state on 12th and 13th. Right now, it's Mount Sac, who just three-peated. I think they just won their third state over Fresno City, but it's really a 2 or 3 team race, and there's 23 programs. And I really think there needs to be an increased push to grow JC wrestling in California. Everyone wants to go to Division One, but the reality, it's barely 1%. Of that 1% that make it there, a fraction of that actually starts, and a fraction of that actually reaches the medal stand. And there's not, and back in my day in the 80s, a lot of guys went to JUCO first, then they went to, I mean, Cal State Bakersfield had a pipeline with Chabot College and a few colleges. Cal Poly had a pipeline. There was these pipelines were created. And I think,
Yeah.
like you were saying, kids that are making the round of 16, they made it to the California State Tournament. Those kids are good enough to place in many other states, and kids in those states are getting opportunities. And like you were saying, maybe I'm not that good. If you go through three or four qualifiers to get to the California State Tournament, you're good enough to place in the vast majority of the country if you don't place in California, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm always challenging like use your eye test, and I think if what's special about the California State Tournament and even the California JUCO State Tournament is I feel like it becomes a special event.
Hmm.
I haven't been to the JUCO State Tournament, but I've seen videos and I've seen pictures. I've watched matches. One of my our good friends, Josh Davis, who's an assistant at Bakersfield College.
Hmm.
It's always such like a big moment for them, and I think when you make it those big moments, I think you're more likely to attract other college coaches that are going to come and recruit and scope things out. I mean, there's few tournaments like the California State Tournament. Um,
Yeah, and we got good kids. If I was a college coach, I would be looking at the Cal JUCO, saying,
yep.
okay, you got an opportunity here, rest a couple years there, get your feet wet. What I'm also saying is we need to push more, we need to grow it. We just added Imperial College down in the tip, the board, Southern California, came back. We had the College of Redwoods come back. I'm hearing a few other programs may come back. I mean, back when I was wrestling, there was around 30 programs. I think at the height in the 70s, there might have been close to 90 programs. And when they changed the seasons back in 82 from spring to fall, Chabot College went back to back that year. In fact, back in those days, in the 81 82 season, a lot of those JUCO teams would wrestle the national JUCO teams, right?
Yeah.
That's why it was good during that time. You got more exposure outside of California. In fact, that year, Chabot beat the number one ranked and number two ranked team. They used to wrestle the College of Idaho. Chabot was ranked number one in the nation that year in 1982, the fall. So those guys got a lot of exposure against national competition. But once they changed it to the fall, I think it dropped down to like 28. Now it's going back up to 23. I just think more and more kids that don't place at state should consider going to continue on at the junior college level. There's a
Yeah,
lot
and I
of
think
potential going away that's not continuing.
well, not only that, but I think continuing to compete in open tournaments. I mean, I think there's not as many open tournaments going on locally in California, but like, the Menlo Open, that's been great for JC guys to go get some looks.
Hmm.
The Roadrunner Open is kind of hit and miss. I think a lot of JC coaches won't necessarily push for it just because it's a little bit closer to their postseason.
Hmm.
I had a buddy that was competing collegiately. He's actually older than me. He still has some eligibility,
Hmm.
which is interesting. But he wanted to go, and his coach was like, it's getting a little bit close. We don't want you getting dinged up."
Yeah.
But you look at Reno TOC, or not TOC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean that's an open where you can sign up.
Hmm.
There's a few other ones, but I think again, like it goes back to what you're saying. I think if it's something where on an administrative level people want to push because it's a great opportunity, I think that's really going to be in direct relation
Hmm.
to, well, how is this an opportunity? Do we have enough
Hmm.
high school guys that want to go and compete collegiately?
Hmm.
So I think again, kids just need to be aware, like if you go to a school maybe that doesn't have the wrestling opportunity, it's like, well, you can also just create one. Like you can start a wrestling club. I mean, if you look at some of these other places that maybe doesn't have a wrestling team, like USC or UCLA, they do have wrestling. It's at the club level,
That's
um,
right.
and it's still it's reasonably competitive at that level. And then they also have a national tournament like the NCWA. So
Hmm. Which is
um,
a lot of schools. That
yeah,
being said, too, we hear a little bit about it. I want to give kudos to Jimmy Medeiros at Birmingham. Now, here's a guy who was an exceptional wrestler, wrestled for American High School state champion. I placed at Fargo High School All-American. I mean, I remember him as a kid. His work ethic was second to none. He worked hard. I
yeah,
mean, that guy was a hard worker, and as a coach to come into Birmingham, because if you look at the city leagues, San Francisco's had two medals since 1973. Oakland's had about maybe 12 medals, I believe.
since
They,
when? That's a
yeah,
long
total.
time.
But Bill, the legend Bill Grant, the
Yeah.
promoter and coach Bill Grant, coached the team to the top four finish in the 1970. I think it was like 76. They had three placers back then, which got you in there. But historically, the LA City has consistently had a placer here and there. But Birmingham is setting a standard. I mean, they were top 10 last year,
Yeah.
first time.
Um,
They're
I
ranked
think
number
they might have
eight
been.
now.
For some reason, I have in my brain that was their second time in the top 10, but they could have been like on the bubble the year before.
Yeah, I think they might have been on the bubble. And prior to 2025, they had five kids place. I mean, we had Vlad Kochiev. I think there was their first in '03, and then they had Jonathan Smith, who I see wrestling for I think Puerto Rico.
Hmm.
And then you got Henry Aslikian. Is that his name?
Yeah,
Aslikian.
yeah,
Yeah, and you got him. And then last year they had three Aslikian, Tarosian, and who's the Slava?
Lava.
Yeah,
Yep.
Slava, and three guys play. So they I mean, exceptional job. He's shown with the hard work. I mean, obviously they got some good wrestlers in that little region right there, but he's doing a great job. I mean, over a third of the guys placed in LA are coming from Jimmy. And I think he's got two guys who's going to Stanford, right? You got one kid going to Stanford, so he's doing everything right. I can't say enough that at the end of the day, it's about the coach bringing the opportunities of putting the time in and the system in place. The kids will come. What was that movie, Field the Dreams? You build it, they'll come, right? And he's built it, and I just want to give him kudos because he's doing what no one else has done in those city schools since Bill Grant had those guys top four in the state back in the day.
He does a great job, and getting a chance to talk to him a little bit more. It was tough actually trying to schedule the podcast because he is just so dang busy. He's getting after it 7 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
and he has a little bit more free time in the mornings. But once it gets to be in the afternoon, like he's in the wrestling facility until late in the evenings. And but no, man, I think it's fun as a fan perspective. It's fun as a competitor perspective to look at somebody that's getting after it. That's has a family that's older, and it's finding a way to make it work. It makes me think about what I'm doing and what do I need to be better in order to be able to compete with those guys. So
It's a difficult balance when you have a family. All the years I promoted California, a lot of people thought that's all I did. That was my job. You're a journalist, you write, but I had a job at the Livermore Labs, and I worked 40 to 50 hours a week. So I had these two different worlds.
yeah,
And so my days would consist of getting up at 5:30 in the morning. By the time I went to bed during the peak of the wrestling season was midnight because I was coming home doing my thing, being with family, spending 4 hours writing, promoting for the California Wrestler. Did that for years. Now that I'm retired, it's a full time passion, here in Idaho. And, I'm streaming out. I'm still writing with Win Magazine. So I'm going to be picking up some pace in some of that area too. But it's just I'm having fun with it, giving back to that sport. Um, you know, that's given so much to us, and the nice thing about today, we talked about technology. We used to have to depend on someone else to give us the information, the newspapers. We can create our own outlet, right? That's the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of social media in that sense that we can create it, right? We can build a platform. You build this podcast, we can build it. We can just we have the capability, we can spread the word and build it on our own. I think that's why wrestling's grown so much and done what's it because we've taken control of it, not dependent on someone else to do it. And I mean, it was nice having the magazines, but we can create our outlets here in Idaho or California and in other states and do it here and share it amongst each other and help grow the sport. The knowledge of what's going on, because the average non-wrestling fan may not know what's going on. I mean, I've written these articles. I think in Idaho, I've written close to 170 published articles. And I haven't stopped. I got my Hidden Gem series, which is that unknown wrestler that's doing really well. Hell, one of the Hidden Gems, Saxon Scott, he's at Cal State Bakersfield. I think he's doing okay, the freshman.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the name of the game is we're trying to create this connectivity amongst each other in our sport and help it grow.
I do want to talk. I do want to give a shout out to the those young guys that are over there in Cal State Bakersfield right now. I know results wise, maybe the team isn't finishing or wrestling, performance wise, maybe up to where we would like it to be. But man, like I went in the room. I stopped in on my way home. We had like an event that night, and I needed to grab something from the store. But I poked my head in there, and as I'm walking across the grass. Um, I know practice is like gonna last like 20 minutes, but I just see somebody just I turn around that corner, I see somebody on their hands on their knees, just blowing chunks onto the grass, and the doors are wide open. I'm like, yeah, like something's going on. And then I went in there, and it's like you're in a different climate, like you're in
Hmm.
South Florida, and it's a swamp, and things are just
Hmm.
hot and steamy, and the room is packed, and guys are just scrapping. And I think that's a big testament, I think, to those young guys that are coming in, as well as a couple of the key transfers that maybe have been in different programs and are bringing
Hmm.
that culture in. Something that I felt like, I was able to kind of go into some of their RTC practices over the summer, and participation just wasn't super consistent. But I think something that Smith has done, and I'm going to give Ernest James some credit too, is just trying to create this culture. And it's taken some time, during COVID, I think really hurt CSUB big times in a lot of different ways, but bringing in the right recruits, Smith being able to have, I mean, he was doing a lot of that by himself pretty much the last few years, but
Hmm.
between him and Ernest kind of tag teaming it, I think it's really got a good culture, and those young guys from Idaho are a big part of that. So wanted to give him.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's I've heard positive things. I mean, Bakersfield has a long traditional history. They have a good history there, and it's a gem here in California. But is Sandoval, Richard Castro Sandoval, he's probably one of their best guys in the room.
Yeah.
Returning, right?
No,
Yeah.
he brings a lot of experience, and I think the way that he wrestles is he just wrestles really physical style. I think it's just how can he translate that into scoring points? I think sometimes he struggles with that, but like you ask him to go, hey, go get a win, and he'll go do it in a duel. So no,
No.
he does a good job.
No, he's doing a good job. And, going back to the Cal JC, even here in Idaho, we got one JUCO program when they dropped Boise State. So many coaches can, and that's the byproduct of good programs or people wrestling in college. They may be your future coach, like yourself. You wrestled at Bakersfield, now you're teaching and coaching. I think Idaho would be well served with an NAIA team,
Yeah.
competing with Southern Oregon and stuff. We have so many good kids to be able to build a good team there. But looking at what Menlo was your NAI team, aren't they going up to Division II or moving up? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
CVU
that
and Menlo were both NAIA, and then
yeah.
CVU transitioned to D2, and then now D1, and then Menlo's in the mix. I think they transition either this next year or the year after.
Yeah, because I was looking at the rankings, like, what happened to Memlo? Then it clicked. It's like, oh, that's right. But I'm looking at the national college rankings, and California is represented really well. What stands out, I mean, they got about 5 or 6 guys that are, I would call that cluster, ranked in the top 12 or 13 that can challenge for, a medal possibly.
Yeah.
But looking at Bo Montanona and his brother Brock at 184s, boy, they've grown. You
Yeah,
see where they went up?
Brock wrestled 150 his senior year.
Yeah, and he's up at 184s. I mean, they were tall. All their brothers are all tall and lanky, but man, he's filling in that spot. And it just is like, and I saw Cody Merrill at 97s. He's trimmed up a little bit. He's at Oklahoma State, but his brother's going to go to Iowa State. And yeah, it's incredible how people transform into college, that next level conditioning, training, and stuff. But I saw what's his name, Geoffrey. Looked like Geoffrey is. I think he's ranked Jack. I think he's at Oklahoma now. I think he's number 5. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
there's one at Illinois, and then there's one at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think he's ranked in it. I think let me see, Jack's there. I think his brother's in the top 30, maybe. So, but no, that's pretty good. Um, What else was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. So you guys, when's your first major tournaments? So high school's already started, but when's your first major tournament coming up?
So we sent some guys to the Clovis West Shootout. So another big team in the track Central Valley. So we
Mm,
wrestled at Clovis West, and it was good. I think it's one of those competitions where I think you kind of just get exposed a little bit. You know, some things
hmm
that you need to work on or clean up. We only sent a handful of our guys over there, but and then yeah, our first we're gonna try to full squad it. We don't quite have a full lineup yet. We just got some guys that are a little bit banged up, and a couple guys that need to sit out until a certain date. But once they're back, we'll be rolling. So we're wrestling in it used to be called the Chuck Chansey,
hmm
but
hmm
now it's the Robert Arabalo Hammer Tournament. So that's always a good one. It's a
Oh,
first.
wasn't he the coach at Fresno City, right?
Yeah,
Robert? Yeah, I
Arabalo.
remember him. He was a good guy. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Um, Here in Idaho, we got some duels coming up next week. I believe they got the Capital duels in the area. The big tournaments, the Raleigh Lane and the Tiger Grizz, those two of our bigger tournaments. We have a handful of kids that'll go to, in our area, go to Reno TOC. And I think we have a few kids that may be coming to Doc B.
Nice.
Because the question always comes up out here, am I good enough to go D1? I says, go to Doc B, you'll find out. You'll find out where you stand. That's probably one of the best gems in the country. I don't know what, the Walsh Ironman is probably still up there, number one, but Doc B, I saw the lineup this year. I'm like, whoa, it's going to be tough.
It's tough because I think it's evolved over time. So I think some of our kids feel like they're entitled to go there, um,
Hmm.
which I think is interesting. It's like, well, it's 2 hours away. It's like, how come we can't go? And it's like, well, it's harder than the state tournament for one.
I agree.
They normally don't let you in there unless like you're a state qualifier level guy or above. And if like we had a couple guys, we had a freshman last year that went 3-2, and another freshman that went 2-2. We knew they were good enough to probably go, but it's like, are you going to go 1-2 at Doc B, or going to go 2-2 at Doc B maybe? Like, is that worth going? I mean, maybe, but I mean, I think we'd rather send you to another tournament where you're going to go and get six or seven matches where you can kind of fill out the weekend a little bit more and get some wins under your belt. Because going to that tournament, I mean, when was the last time you go 1-2 at a tournament if you're somebody tough, or 2-2 at a
That's
tournament?
right.
Probably
Yeah.
not a whole lot. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Because Idaho, we've had kids win it. Mac Mauger, he's placed a couple times there. Navarro placed there.
Did Mora go there? Did he compete there?
Maybe I know he went to all Walsh Ironman, was close to placing, um, but they Meridian's had a guy placed or upper weight. But we've had kids that were 3 or 4 times state champions go there and go 2-2, and these are kids that are going to D1. So it
2-2
just
is pretty
tells you,
good though.
yeah. And they've won, they placed at Fargo, and then they're going 2-2. So that just puts it, some of those weights, the difference between placing is just a double overtime.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
and
I
somebody's.
went 1-2 there, and I was round of 12 in California. So I went 1-2, and every match was like one score difference. Like every match was a scrap. So you gotta be ready out the gate.
Yeah, out there, there's no easy rounds. There's no warm-up rounds, but no, it's definitely a gem. But I'm here in Idaho. I'm prepping for all the preseason reviews. I just looked at the California State rankings, pretty comprehensive. It'd be nice to have a write-up of that, right? Just to put it down in the context, because it's really deep information. But
It's yours to write, man.
huh?
It's yours if you want it. You could put it on the website.
I'll have AI do it. No, um, but no, it's pretty comprehensive. I'm prepping all the preseason reviews. Nothing's really changed too much in Idaho. It's the same top level teams that are coming back, challenging for it. Girls wrestling is still growing exponentially here. I think in 2020 we had about maybe 120 girls registered, through the wait. We're edging towards 900 to 1,000 girls, but it's
Nice.
on par to that trajectory, the national trajectory, and it's getting to the point now where you got to really the first round at state will be a little bit tougher than it was a few years ago. And you got these incoming freshmen, so it's gonna be a fun year again here in Idaho. But did I tell you about that story I about the guy from Portugal?
No, no, you shared it and I read it, but you gotta say it. So,
S-
explain like how this started because it's
Okay,
kind of
so
story.
as you know, I've been involved with writing and promoting since the early 1990s, so close to 30 something years. And I've done feature stories, I've done assessment stories, I've done about tournaments and on, but I'm always looking for that unique story, right? That unique story that's an outlier out there. And it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was talking to Pablo Di Maria, and we were talking about the context of what's going on in the world and how, Russia has got guys in the Dagestan guys are in various countries in Bahrain, Tazahudov, and all these guys are spread in the competition and the level. And it came up, Japan's on the surge, and we both have Portuguese heritage. My grandparents came from the Azores in the mainland of Portugal when they migrated here. So he asked me the simple question. He goes, "Does Portugal have wrestling?" And I go, "Yeah, they have it. Yeah, they. I've seen guys compete in Portugal, and I don't think they've ever had an Olympic or a world medalist, but they've had guys place at the European Championships, and yeah, that's all I know." And then jokingly, he goes, "I bet you're one of your distant brothers or relatives is the head coach there in Portugal." Just joking with me. And I go, "Well, nah, I don't know." I mean, so I start doing my research and I'm plugging it in and I'm typing in my name and Portugal's rest. All of a sudden it comes up Luis Fontes. He's the national head coach of the National Federation of Portugal Wrestling and Olympic movement. And I'm like, whoa, what a coincidence. So me being me, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get his contact. So I contacted him and down to earth guy. He loves to surf. I mean, he surfed all
Yes.
through the world.
Go.
Luis, he was in 1993. He was top six at the Espoir Worlds. And then prior to I think it was the Barcelona, I forget, Atlanta and those Olympics, he was the number one guy in Portugal and was beating world level guys. But each Olympic prior to, he had gotten injured, right?
Yeah.
Just coincidence, and he can never compete. So when you when we talk, it's like you and I talking this. I mean, he can come on this podcast, just passionate, love, and it's like, man, who would ever thought I have, same name and these two passions. So I said, hey, Lewis, I want to write an article about this, about what you're doing in Portugal and this coincidence. So that I put it together, and it's going to be in Win magazine, I think, at the end of December. But it was just like small world, and I mean, he runs the Fontes Wrestling Club. He's the UWW. He's taken on various educational roles,
Yeah.
doing training and stuff like that. And I was, Ivan Ivanov from he's a Bulgarian, wrestled, I think it was silver medalist. He trains Suplis here in Idaho. And I talked to Ivan, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, we're in the same weight. I know him." And it was just like, what a small world. So, I mean, what that told me is within just a few minutes, I can connect with anyone in the world or I can find out, right? What is the circumstance? So I worked on that article, and I have to say that was one of the most. And now we have this friendship, and it's like, hey, anything I can do to help promote you, right? Or we can talk wrestling, and it's just like, because I met CITF, I met the Bella Glock, I met other wrestlers through different events, but to coincidentally, just by a whim of a joke, like, and then look it up, and it just happens to be, it just blew my mind, and this. And I mean, he's getting honors. I mean, he's got a master's degree. So his whole life is trained in Portugal, and they're doing pretty good at the European level. And his goal is to try to build, because the UWW, they're trying to spread wrestling worldwide and build up, the countries. And he's heavily involved with that. Great guy, and he's been here in the States and stuff. I'm hoping to meet him in the near future, maybe if he comes to the World Championship stuff. But now that was a fun article to write, and it'll be coming out soon. Just small world.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. I think what's interesting is like how common of a last name is Fontes in. in that pro
Fontes,
sport?
in the States, it's not as common. It's not like a Smith or anything like that. I mean, usually my grandmother was a Ferreira. That's probably more common.
Okay.
In Portugal, it's not the most common, but it's average, I would say. You know, you'd see Fontes it can be in Spain, it can be in Brazil. So it means a fountain of knowledge. That's what the name means. So you hear names like Cifuentes. It means the same thing, but that's in Spanish or
Mm,
but no, it's not that popular name. In the context of surnames.
okay. Yeah, because I think it's interesting when some people have similar last names or the same last name, and it's like, I mean, technically, you guys could, very distantly be related.
He looks
It's
like
like,
my
oh,
brother. I mean, he looks like people in my family. So we could be distant relatives, probably on my grandfather's side, because my grandmother came from Madeira, the
okay,
islands in the Azores. That's where their family came from. My grandfather's family came from the mainland. So you never know, but we're brothers. We're brothers in wrestling. I can tell you, he has an
yeah,
equal passion, and he just got recognized again for his efforts by I forget by the Portuguese authorities about his efforts nationally and internationally, and he's an uphill battle, right? I mean, when you think of Portugal, you think of soccer, right? They're
yeah,
world
for
class
surfing.
soccer.
They got good surfing there too.
Yeah, and they got great, great athletes. But his passion is as equal as anyone that has passion for soccer or anything there. And he is the tip of the spear there. Just looking at all his resume and what he's done and his passion. But I mean, if he came here and we talk, we'd be talking. He knows wrestling here in the States. He knows what's going on. And it's that connectivity we have now, right? Such a small world that 20 years ago, you couldn't be naming off all these Russian wrestlers or these wrestlers. Now we have access to it and we're talking about those matches. And that's the beauty of wrestling today. It's the best I've ever seen when it comes to connectivity. We've taken it in our hands and we're building it, the wrestling community. We're not waiting for a newspaper to write about it. We're doing it. And
Yeah,
that's
and
that.
it's good. It's so good for the sport because things can just happen so quickly. It's like you were talking about RAF. It's like, well, I got to watch the clips. I didn't watch the event, but I watched the clips after, right after they happened on
Mhm.
X. So like, how cool is that?
No, it's awesome. And I think there's potential with the RAF. It's a good outlet. I think it's part of growth. I mean, it's good that they're bringing on international wrestlers because I know Russia and India has their like professional type leagues, and there's so much potential for it. There's a lot of potential there just to give people another outlet because UFC is a short half life. If you ever notice people going to UFC, they don't last but a few years, if that.
Yeah.
Whereas wrestling, you can probably sustain a little bit longer in those outlets and grow the sport.
Well, the training's different.
Hmm.
I mean, you go into UFC and you're not training as intensely you're fighting 3 times maybe in a year if you're on a UFC
Hmm.
contract. And you have like 6 to 8, maybe a 10 or 12 week camp, but it's not intense the whole time. Like that's just when you're training, and
Hmm.
normally outside of camp kind of just hanging out. Sometimes you're training. I know with Chad Mendes, who just wrestled last night. I think when he had his title shot against McGregor, it was like he had like 2 or 3 weeks to prepare, but he got the call. He was fishing out on his boat.
Hmm.
Like, hey, Jose Aldo's out. Like, do you want to fight for world title? Yeah. It's like 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
out. And it's kind of crazy. If you had a little bit, a little more time to prepare, shoot, he almost beat Conor McGregor that match. He could have been a world champ, but
Yeah, I don't know where. I mean, Chad, I see his, on Instagram, he's out hunting, he's doing his archery and stuff.
yeah,
I mean, I'm looking at where he's at. It's like, yeah, it looks like Idaho. I don't know where he lives now.
pretty sure he lives in Idaho.
Okay, yeah, because
He's
I'm looking at him
he's
like,
my
wow, that looks
wife's
like
I think
Idaho.
second cousin maybe.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because I haven't talked to him in years since he was in, high school state, but I'm looking at the landscape. I'm like, ah, that looks like Idaho. So that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
But
He does
that's
like guiding, like if like fishing guides and hunting guides
okay.
and stuff like that. So it's like you can go guide, you can go and hunt or fish with Chet Mendez. Like that's kind of the thing, you know.
Yeah.
So
And that's cool because some of the kids I've written articles about, I usually have an interview with them. I go meet the family. We have a round table, talk wrestling. And there's been a handful of guys that are showing me all their bucks, and these wrestlers I'm coaching, whether it's crossbow or rifle, they're, oh yeah, I'm hunting. There are a lot of these kids I'm writing about are hunting because Idaho has a lot where you can
yeah.
go hunt and stuff. And this one kid I wrote about is like he had 4 or 5, bucks and different. It's like, yeah, they've been doing it. It's really cool. But so anything else going on?
No, man, I just got this. It was just got that sign put up.
Oh,
Um,
that
yeah,
is
and I got
cool.
yeah, I got a couple other things, but it's just my birthday, so I just turned 30.
Happy
And
birthday.
no, I appreciate that. What's really cool, I think, about my birthday is it usually either falls on or like the day before the day after Thanksgiving. And I was thinking about this the other day. And it's like how lucky am I that I get to have my birthday around a day where, you talk about gratitude and talk about being thankful. And I
Hmm.
think it's really good, I think, for me to reflect on those days. But no, man, I appreciate getting to have these conversations with you, and I really enjoy them. So
No,
appreciate you.
I appreciate all your work. I've watched all your podcast. You're doing a great job, and it's just good to keep that connection. What's going on? Just love to talk wrestling. I'm going to give back until I can't give back anymore. I mean, that's my goal, and I don't know what's next. Like I said, I'm going to try to do some more writing with Win. I've been writing off and on for years. I always like that I diversify my writing, right? Sometimes it can get stale just writing the same thing. It's good to write about different stories. Now I have the latitude to find any kind of story anywhere and write about it. There's just so much to talk about in the wrestling and stuff. But no, I've been blessed to be here. I do still love watching the California wrestling. What's going on there? It's just some talented kids, and it doesn't seem like it's stopping. I mean, Sammy Sosa. I mean, you got well, not Sammy Sosa, but Sammy Sanchez. Yeah, Sammy Sosa, Sammy
Baseball
Sanchez.
player for the Cubs.
Yeah, yeah, Sammy Sanchez. I mean, when you got 3 or 4 world medalists in there, and what's the kid's name from Poway? Arseni.
Kikinu.
Keeknew, his
Yeah.
dad was a great wrestler. I mean, I think isn't he like the first 16U or junior to place in both styles recently or something like that at
It's
the
something like
same
that.
same time frame?
Yeah, it's something like
Wow,
that.
that's just incredible. Just the talent that's out there and stuff. But no, I'm just I hope you have a happy Christmas time. You guys going anywhere for Christmas? Or are you going to stay local?
Yeah, so we've been going to formerly known as the Coast Classic. Now it's the Pat Level
Hmm.
Memorial Tournament. So we've been going there quite a bit. We're gonna mix it up. I normally like going there just because it's Santa Cruz area and that's
Hmm.
we're at the high school and stuff. But and I think we're gonna go to Sonora. So we're actually gonna take that weekend off and we're gonna go to Sonora the next weekend. Sonora TOC, which
Hmm.
has been a pretty good Southern Section tournament.
Hmm.
So it'll be good to go down there and get some good competition. I think one of the things that we always really struggle over the holidays. We have some really great kids, but sometimes you leave them to their own devices, like they just aren't super disciplined.
Hmm.
We've always struggled coming back into Doc B and maybe haven't had great performances, but kind of hoping that going to Sonora is going to give us some good competition, something to train for. And then we're going to Doc B. I think it's the ninth and the 10th, maybe. Let me check the calendar. It's the
Yeah.
ninth and the 10th of
Yeah, and
January.
Doc B. I know Clovis is up there and one of the top teams, but I saw it looks like the Lewis brothers are moved out of both two-time placers are going up to Del Norte,
Yeah. Yeah,
which is
that was funny. So we're actually going to duel Clovis this year, and it's the first time we've ever dueled him as a program. And we were talking to Gabe Schaefer, and he's like, we're not going to be as competitive this year. Like the Lewis brothers moved north. They moved up north, and we're like where up north? Like Vacaville? Like
Crescent City.
yeah, where? It's funny looking at the rankings. It was like Michael Chopa like Del Norte, like moved up north, like question mark.
Hmm.
But yeah, Del Norte. So it's interesting because if you look at the layup of the state tournaments, you have two places in your lineup. Well, now you're a top 15 team potentially. So
That's
Del
right.
Norte goes from, I've never, no offense to Del Norte, but I've never heard that school before. Now it's like, no, we're a top 15 team. We got two state placers possibly. So
Yeah, they've had guys place at state. They had a heavyweight. I think it was in the state finals one year, several years ago. They're a good section. They're up in Crescent. They're right there on the border. It helps North Coast
yeah,
because North Coast needs a few more medals. They're only sending two to state now, which is like, you know.
that's a section killer. Like if you get below three, that's pretty tough because guys lose in the front side. It's like why wrestle back? Why wrestle back to get third? And they don't do like a true second or anything, right?
There's sections they can do a true second.
Okay.
Not all the weights. I guess if they wrestle earlier or whatever, it may not happen. But
Right.
yeah, it's true
Like if you
second.
and I
So
already wrestled and you beat me and I end up getting third, you get second. There's not going to be a true second.
yeah, I don't think something like yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's really hurt considering. But nonetheless, going back, I want to we're talking about promoting wrestling. You guys have a gym in the Bakersfield area, Mike Stricker. You know
Mhm.
Mike.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he has this book right here.
I have a copy of it. I think it's in my classroom. I thought I might have
Yeah.
it actually behind. Actually, you
So,
know what? I think I
so
have it.
kudos to Mike for all he's done for. I know he's done a history of Central Valley. Um,
He's got two
I,
books, Al. He
two
has
books.
one where it's like until like 1990, and then
Hmm.
he has another one from 1990 to I think like
Yeah.
2020 or something like that.
And this is the California JC, and I just another project I'm working on right now is my alma mater, Chabot. I did a historical book for my high school, Livermore, where I took 60 years and I put it all together, all the history, the stats, and photos of every kid that did anything in the program. So Chabot, 1963, they started. They've had four coaches. Bob Thompson in the 60s. His son is Tommy Thompson. He used to run the Mission San Jose tournament.
Yeah.
Great coach. And then Zach Papachristos, who's a legend. Zach, won five state titles, but he's done everything. And then he's still alive. He's 90 years old. And then Coach Steve Soroy, who was with that program for 50 years, just recently. And they have a new coach, Michael Grijalba. He came from Modesto JC. I think he went to Atwater, probably around the time when who was their Olympic silver medalist, Jamal Kelly. I think he might have
Mhm.
been there around that time, maybe, or
Okay.
after. And he wrestled at Cal Boston. He's doing a great job. So I made the decision one day, you know what? I got to put the history together. So basically, what I've been doing for the last 5 months is getting photos, newspaper articles from the 60s, and I'm trying to build this connectivity with the older alumni with the newer program. Went into the room about a month and a half ago, talked to the kids like, "Hey, I'm finishing this book. You can be in the book." And they're asking me a question about all the guys up on the wall. Who's that guy? And these are guys like they're like, "When did you wrestle here?" Back in the 80s. They're like, "Wow, you're old." And I said, "No, those guys are older than me. Some of those guys are still around." They're in their 70s and 80s. So I'm trying to build this cohesion with the entire history, putting this book. It'll be a comprehensive, like yearbook with stats, every team photo. I got a headshot of almost every All-American and placer since 1963, and building this thing because I want to, like Mike, we want to. The problem with today is everything's on Instagram. That disappears. We take a photo, it can disappear. My coach, Zach Papachristos, gave me a box full of newspaper articles dating back to 1969 to up 82. And I'm like, look at this information here. It was in a
Yeah.
box. That's why I want to do this book. I think history is important. Mike's been, really good on doing that, creating that history because stuff that's on the internet can disappear tomorrow. We got to keep our history preserved. And so I'm doing this book. Mike's done these books. Kudos to him for what he's doing. Maybe someday I'll do a California historical book. But
Well,
I'm going
what's
to tell you,
cool?
brother, that's a
Yeah.
large undertaking.
No, that would be something you'd have to pull in from a million. I mean, there's a lot of people that have done like what Mike's done with the central section. But they've done it with other people, like they've done it with other parts of the state. It would be interesting to pull all those guys together and create something a little more comprehensive. I think
Yeah.
what's really cool about the history is, I was able to get Mike's book, and be able to create like little frontier history things. So like we have
Hmm.
all of our league champs, like we have like all of our team finishes. I can go and look at all the brackets for Frontier, and that's really cool because now it's like, hey, we're getting ready for a duel. Yeah, I can send something out to all of our alumni. Like I know their names, you know what I mean? And we can build like a community. And I think that's kind of what's special about these history books, like what you're doing with Chabot. It's like if you're on Chabot's team, well, like you find this connection that you have with guys from decades before that were part
Oh
of that
yeah.
program, you know?
I've been making
Um,
connections, calling the alumni from the 60s. One guy's a world-renowned artist. I'm like, hey, can you and some of your art group make this? I had a conceptualization. I won't say what it is online because it'll be a surprise of here's our legends in the sport. Can you conceptualize an art piece that I can put on the cover of the book in the back? Just trying to bring, I'm talking alumni from the 70s and 80s and people and coaches. And it's just been a it's a process, trust me. It's not measured in time because if you measure time, you'd be blown away how much time it takes. But it's a measure, it's a passion, it's a
yeah.
time process. Like Mike's book here, I helped Mike with some of the data. In fact, you go online, look at some of the JC history. There's a Cali wrestling page. I think your coach, remember
Mike
yeah,
McCune. Yeah.
all that JC history. There was a book out there that had some of the champions, but I put all that together because of Zach and Bob Thompson had old ditto sheet brackets from the 60s and early 70s. That's how I got all the data and typed that all out. Now it's online, but we need to also get that in a book too. So
Yeah,
it's
Daniel
preserved.
McCune. Daniel McCune does a good. I don't know why I said Mike. I think I combined Mike Mendoza and Daniel McCune together. I said Mike McCune, but
Yeah.
I think what he's trying to do is kind of like what you were talking about, where things are in book form. It's like, as long as you have that book, you got the information. I think what McCune's trying to do with the Cali wrestling thing is trying to have like a website where it's like anything that you're looking for when it comes to California stuff, whether it's a podcast, whether it's rankings, whether it's a website, that's like the spot you can kind of go for. It's kind of like a crossroads where it's like, hey, you're trying to get somewhere. You just kind of look on that website and it'll kind of take you where you want to go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not living in California, but we're all family. So even though I'm
Yeah.
doing Idaho stuff, I'll help here, I'll help there. It's all to me, it's about wrestling and preserving the history and just a love of the sport and summarizing stuff to show people. Like even in Idaho, I write these write-ups and they're like, I didn't realize Idaho had, these are non-wrestler and people are reading this. Like I didn't realize we had 4 world team members right here in the Boise area. Oh yeah. Yeah, you got Shala Jones, Aiden Natal, you had Skellinger, then you had another kid, Matthews, who's in Declo area. These are all Pan American kids wrestling on the world teams and stuff. Yeah, just one area is like I didn't know that because the newspapers aren't as effective as they used to be. It's different, and
Yeah.
and and,
Things
and
are
it's
generalized, like it's not exactly how it is, sometimes it's kind of, a little bit fluffier to try to
hmm
hype something up a little bit more.
hmm
That's fine. I get it.
Yeah. And it's not it's just what it is. That's why I took it in my hands 30 something years ago. And a lot of my passion for promoting was based on Zach Papachristos telling me, well, if you failed as an athlete and didn't achieve all your goals, find a new goal. And I
Yeah.
have not stopped. And I made a decision. I'm gonna go full bore until I can't go anymore. And it's been 30 years. And I don't know what the end game's gonna be. It'll be done when I'm done. And
Fair enough,
yeah.
pal. Fair
And I'm
enough.
just having fun with it and keeps me out of trouble gives me a bubble to go into and just sort of enjoy it every day, waking up something new. I mean, like doing all these notes before this podcast, I was like, oh wow, look at that. Now I got a greater perspective of what's going on at CIF, right? And what's going on with the JCs and stuff like that, and just having fun. But
Can we get you out to a California State tournament sometime soon?
I want to get back to a California State tournament. If it's not
Because
this year, maybe the next year, because I'm going
there's
on
there's a lot of
vacations.
people that wanna say hi to you and see you in person, and I'm sure we're glad to have you back.
I want to come back. It just, the timing it could be this year, it could be next year. It's on my list of things I want to do. Yeah, I want to go back and hell, I want to go back and see Doc B.
Yeah.
Doc B
Come
is
back for
in,
that. I won't be at Doc B this year. I'll be at the tournament like an hour away, but um
yeah. It's
no,
just
it's a
it's
good
the
time.
process, right? The way they run that tournament and just the environment. It's like going to the Big Tens. I mean, it's like, whoa. And you got these kids from all over the country, and you see kids from Kentucky or, Georgia that like, wow. But anyone comes from a non-traditional state that's coming to Doc B, that kid's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're either
Yeah.
coming from a prep school
Definitely.
or they're Fargo, um, champion. But no, it's this is good, and I'm enjoying this, and I do definitely want to come back. And it's at the Mechanics Center
Well, they've changed it.
again.
It was Rabobank, then Mechanics Bank, and then now it's Dignity Health Arena.
See, here we
Um,
go. Our last podcast. I was calling it the Rabobank, and you're like it changed. So what's it called
changed
now?
again. Dignity Health Arena.
That doesn't
Um,
have the flow like a Rabobank.
it's fine. I mean, I think people are still going to call it Rabobank or Mechanics Bank anyways, but I think what's really cool is we're thankfully we got a lot of people that work in the health industry, and
Hmm.
so when it's time for the state tournament, we got like I think we might have like four suites this year, which I don't know if that's gonna happen. Um,
Wow.
I think last year we had two, but like dude, you get three, you get two or three at this. I mean, you're pretty comfy. Like we had one for like all of our parents and like boosters and stuff to chill in, and then we had one
Hmm.
for the athletes to go and chill in. So it was kind of nice, especially like you gotta go to the bathroom. You got your own bathroom. You can go and chill. Like that's a big deal. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And going back to newspapers, Bakersfield, I don't know what newspaper it is, I forgot, but when it's the state tournament, it's very comprehensive.
Bakersfield, California. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those guys, when
Yeah.
it comes to that, they know what they're talking about. Like when I write, I'm doing it from a perspective of a wrestler. And you can tell some of the people that are writing have a very good background, very process knowledge of what they're talking about. And when I went to state, I always like to get that copy and read it in the morning, get a sort of a preview.
I feel like I should give the guy a shout out. I'm trying to remember his name off the top. I have his business card in my wallet, but I'm gonna look his name up real quick. But they do a really good job.
Hmm.
Um, they really take care of us, and I think I mean they take it pretty seriously. Let's see if I can find it. Bakersfield, Californian. Um, no, I think I think part of it's like when you're hosting the state tournament in your town, you got to make sure you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
See if I can find them. That's not it. Now it's telling me I gotta pay the digital thing in order to access it. So maybe I'm not gonna look it up today.
That's okay. That's okay. Just shout out to the people that have written those previews. They're really enjoyable. I mean, we had access to the internet. I remember this is like 2018, but I always enjoyed reading that newspaper because it was like getting their perspective. They're on, ground level, what's going on. And it wasn't just information, it was detailed. Those guys did a good job. But no, this is good. Thank you for this opportunity to talk wrestling. I wish your team the best this year. Um, is it going to be Buchanan all the way? Are they going to be challenged by Bosco?
I don't think so. Bosco just lost. I thought it was Isaiah, but I guess it's Asai talking to Jimmy Medeiros. He's back at Birmingham, which he was going through their kids club and then went to St. John Bosco. So you got finalists going over there. I mean, that's 25 plus points. I mean, that's a big deal.
Is
That's
he
now
going to be
back at another
eligible to
school.
wrestle this year? Or?
I think if you if you go back to where you live, I think it's different.
Okay.
So I don't. I think so. If it's a full family move, there's no sit out. Um, if it's something where you're just transferring during the right window, I think it's different. I think it's like a 30-day sit out. Um, and if you're moving because of a sports thing, it's a year sit out. So. Um, Yeah, I think I'm not sure if he's sitting or not. Probably would have been a good question to ask him, but that's okay.
So with that wrestler, if they're ranked in the top eight, which they got like six kids ranked in the top 12, you add him, they can definitely be a potential top five.
Yes, they could have potentially three to four finalists.
Wow. And they have a sophomore too, right? Don't they have a sophomore, Mason Savidian or something? He's pretty good, took
Yeah,
fifth last year.
yeah.
So,
So they're
no,
cooking. They're
they're
they're doing
cooking.
a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I
And then,
think
who else is, I mean, you got a few other
Clovis
teams.
North got a couple big transfers. They had a kid from Esperanza, and a kid from Sadu from was it Del Oro? I think it was Del Oro.
Del Oro, yeah, Sac Joaquin section.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like I'm looking at the thing. It looks like a two-team race. I mean, Esperanza has eight guys ranked in the top 12. So, and Clovis Norris has six. I mean, that can fluctuate and change as the season goes on.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, for
that you
sure.
got kids that when I looked at the rankings, I only looked at the top eight, but if you're top 12, you definitely are in the mix.
I
Pittman,
don't even honestly, Al. I don't really even really look at them.
yeah, I look at them because I'm just trying to get a perspective of what's going on. But as a coach, you're right. Rankings are only as good as what you do on the mat. It showed that's the final ranking. But
Somebody was trying to talk to us. It happens every year because I mean, especially when I'm at family functions, because they know I coach. It's like, well, how's the team going to look this year, Brian? And it's like, well, we'll see. It's like I don't know. Like I think we have a lot of potential, obviously, but it's like as anybody that knows anything about sports, it's like potential doesn't mean anything.
yeah,
You
you got
got
to
to go do
navigate.
it.
Yeah, you got to navigate through a lot of landmines through the years, whether it's injuries, social issues. There's so many factors to be able to keep that team together mentally and physically, academically, and then get them to peak at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Two years ago, I thought we were going to have one of the best teams that we've had. I thought, we had Miguel coming back, he's going to be state finalist, state champ. We had
mhm.
a couple other guys I thought could sneak on the podium. And then we had, I thought enough guys. I'm like, hey, we could get 8 or 9 state qualifiers this year. We ended up having like four starters get hurt and have like season-ending injuries. One of them was
Oh,
able to wrestle through it. He actually stopped wrestling for 2 years. Now he's back. He's wrestling again his senior year, but he broke his back. We had another guy who jacked up his knee, so he's out. And then we needed to get him to go wrestle in a duel. So his first match back was in a duel, and he ended up getting hurt again. Hurt his shoulder, was out. We had a guy who had a cauliflower in his nose.
what? Cauliflower nose?
Yeah, he got bopped in the
Oh, the
nose, and
cartilage?
yeah, they cleaned it out, and then it happened again, and it was like you can't like they're gonna have
Yeah.
to keep
Oh my God.
fixing it. So.
Yeah, that's one thing
Uh,
I hate about coaching. It's like I don't like to go back and say if this and if that. If's the middle word in life,
but
right?
that's what I'm saying. It's like you never
Yeah.
know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
So
we got potential. It's like one of my coaches at Chabot back in 76 at the Northern California Championships, the qualifier to get to the state tournament. They had all 10 guys in the finals. First time that ever happened. And they won the NorCal tournament. And Zach told me, he goes, yeah, we celebrated, but I said, darn, we just peaked at the wrong time. And teams that they had beaten before, they end up taking second or third that next weekend. Like peaking is a huge thing.
yeah,
Um, and that's what makes California, I don't know, if you can say special, but it is a grind. Going through the Southern Section Masters or going through well, you guys go through the Valley and Sequoia, then you qualify. You got your league, but then you go to your Sequoia Valley
our
subsection.
league's not a qualifier anymore, so you just go
Yeah.
straight to our divisional round in our valley, like D1 Central section, and then
Yeah.
all the best kids from all the sections come together for our Masters tournament, which
Yeah.
is
But those 2 weekends is wrestling. You're going up against future Division I kids.
yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like what I said. Like you can go 3-3 at our valley and qualify the next weekend. You know what I mean? And it's like how many times have kids lost twice in a tournament and like kept wrestling? You know,
Yeah.
we had a young team last year. We had a young team, and 2 years ago we had a young team, and it was like it was hard for those kids. I think it was a great experience because it's telling them like you gotta be ready to go to your first match, and you gotta be willing to wrestle the whole day. Like you might lose a close one, but you have to wrestle the next one. Like,
Hmm.
um, but it's fun, man. Like I like it. I think we've talked about the duels, the sectional
Hmm.
duels before, but that's something that they're adding this year, and we're gonna opt out of it. I think, just because, like what you
Hmm.
said, it's like you're gonna. I don't. I'd rather not have a duel with another Division 1 team right before our Valley.
Hmm.
Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. It's a waste of a weigh-in. If we had a lot of depth
Hmm.
where, we had a lot of guys that maybe can go and compete, but it's like we're just putting together we can put together a competitive lineup from 106 to 285, but we don't have multiples at a bunch of different weights, and I'd rather just save those guys for the weekend after.
Yeah, I remember it always amazed people outside of California when I tell them, I'm like, well, that guy took third in the track league or fourth in the track league, took fifth in the Valley, and then they were in the state finals. Like, how does that work? Because the same core guys are going back and forth, and they just happen to have a good weekend. They're right there. It's like the Big Ten. They're right there on the edge. Take third at the Big, fourth at the Big Ten. You're in the finals next week,
It's
right?
fun though. Like it's
Yeah.
it's 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 super fun. It's like, yeah, you can get fourth at the Big Ten tournament and then beat the fourth seed at nationals. It's like you're still in
Yeah,
the mix.
in round one. But no, this is good. I wish you a Merry Christmas and good luck this year, and we'll keep in contact. If any other podcasts come up, you need another person to sort of join in. If you feel I can add value to it, let me know.
Well, I appreciate that, Al. Before I let you go, we're getting close to this is episode 98. So,
Oh, really?
trying to figure out if we want to celebrate episode 100 or not. Part of me is just like I'm not really like into celebrating birthdays too much, but I feel like 100 episodes, that's not like it's not easy.
We
But
can call it highlighting the milestone.
yeah, just
Yeah.
have a bunch of people on, and I don't know, just do a fun one and just talk
You
talk
got you
about
got
everything.
Brian down in Temecula. He's a great guy. I mean, great voice, knowledgeable. Yeah, there's some people who can just talk wrestling, come up with some subjects and go from there.
Yeah, so I'll send you. We'll probably try to think of a few different dates just so we can get everybody there. But I'll let you know, and we'll plan for it. And if anybody's watching, if you got any ideas, if you made it all the way to the end, if you got any ideas what we should talk about maybe in that 100th episode, send me an email or drop something in the comments. So
Okay. And I'll send you once the article comes out on the Portuguese national director of wrestling, Luis Fontes. I'll send you to. I mean, it's about an 800 something page. I was limited to one page. I probably could have written 12 pages with all his. Now this guy is his whole life's dedicated to it, and he's it's just like us. He's passionate for the
yeah.
sport, and he's trying to build Portugal to that potential, and it's gonna be tough, but he's doing everything you need to do. I'll send you that article and go from there.
All right, sounds good,
Thank you,
Al.
brother.
Appreciate you,
Okay.
man.
Yeah, you too. Bye bye.
Have a good one. Bye.